Yeah.
You mentioned.
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, it's this big grant. I'm literally at There's 7 sections, 300 words each, and any attached video.
That's my kind of grant application.
So we've made a couple of videos, and that's one of them. And you can only use it until 13 people. So we very selectively chose 8 graders that were over 13. Yes, but only kids who are 13.
And what's the general thing with grants for?
Reimagining high schools.
Have you seen the QC? They are advertising.
It's all over the city.
Yeah. I might have seen it. Now.
Yeah, I've noticed it. It looks very kind of sharp as private sector.
No, I was going to try to. Yay!
Okay, let me just say. Oh, I feel bad.
Oh, no, I opened it up again. Thank you.
All right. You know what? I feel like the years practically over. We have to, manage to do what we wanted to do. All right. So as I mentioned, are we?
Yeah,
there?
it's like thinking about it.
I'm sending out a note saying we're opening it up again.
Okay.
It's open.
Oh, look, you guys. See my hands.
Yeah, I don't want to sit.
Actually, I'm trying not to be on the thing.
I'm not in it.
So, well, we hung up by accident, so we're sending out something saying. Yeah. So, not to put anyone on the spot, but does anyone have an interest in coming on board to chair this committee?
I'd like to know more information about what it requires.
Well, as it relates to, so there are 2 parts to it. There's the fact that whoever is appointed would be an elected member of the PTO through June. So that's a monthly meeting via conference call that we have to work on stuff and talk about what we're doing, participating in whatever activities we need to do. And I can send that out if you're interested. But then as it pertains to this committee, we were hoping to do a major fundraising event this school year. Now that we're already in February, I don't know how major that would actually be, but I'd like to see something strong, not bake sales, but something more coordinated to bring in more money. And then for long term, and the proceeds for that will go toward the student travel for next summer. And then next year we can do a major gala or big event. So we'll really have several events raising money to put towards student travel in the summer of 2017. So there's long term, but there's some short term money just for us to have money.
So is the major goal of the fundraising the trips?
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, we've been asked to do some substantial fundraising for the trips. Mm-hmm. So that is one thing that we definitely will do. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't want to.
But before we do, can I still get a clarification as to what you're looking for as far as that person is concerned? Yeah. What is it that you want that person to do? Because I'm interested, but I don't know if I would be the one to fit the bill. So
well, that person would be in charge of this committee, overseeing, not necessarily doing all the work if you're a good delegator, but overseeing the activities of the committee to raise money for those student trips, short-term money for the PTO bank account, and then whatever other fundraising events we end up doing for whatever other needs we have.
basically just managing it.
Yeah. So chairing a committee just like you would if you're on a board or something like that.
Sounds interesting. There's definitely something that I have been targeting as far as that is concerned in that. So we can talk later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So email me.
Okay.
Anybody else want my card?
Okay.
So I just wanted to say, so we talked about a little bit, we tried to get together
this year trips for 8th graders to do, and we actually found trips that we could do that met sort of our learning goals and identified them. And I think the Chinese one is still happening, but we didn't have any funds to really go with that. It was really, we have a really economically diverse student body, and we didn't get the amount of participation, especially in the Spanish program that I would have liked. In the French program, they'd already been, so there wasn't like really the interest in that program. It's also the smallest class, so that could be part of it too. But I wanted to sort of not pursue the trips at this point in time, and then come back around this year and have, I think it's a way that can really unite the community, is fundraising for trips, because you could make a giant dent. The building is going to cost $54 million, and while the PTO could help, and we could maybe put in a couple of rooms,
Right.
I don't think it would have the impact of saying, hey, we sent 100% of our students who wanted to go to, Costa Rica or something.
Yes.
So I think it's a way to make a big impact with the PTO, but I don't know if the PTO needs to spend all of its effort on that. I just think that's a big thing that, like, at Yuying, the PTO raised money for the playground, and that was a very successful, like, small thing. That, it wasn't small, it was a huge amount of money, but a, like, discrete thing, and I think discrete things are really important. And the trips to meet is something that's discrete, that's achievable. So that's why I suggested it to Lori. And I think because there is a real interest from the students to come, and there's a real economic challenge that we have in our community. So I think I would very happily work on it here, and I think it's a great way for the families to get involved, and
So, no, I was just gonna say, are we working toward subsidizing it 100% for each kid, or how?
I actually put aside $500 per student in the budget for this, so it would be, I think you could get halfway. If we could like kind of combine it, we might be able to get 100%. So if like I could match it with student funds, I think we could maybe get to 100%.
How much are we looking at per student?
With the recent trip, I think the Chinese trip will be, strangely French and Chinese were about the same, but I think it's going to be about 2,000 per student. And if you think about, like I've done the metrics on this, and basically if you say 500 per student per year, you can afford for half of 2 of their trips. So if we could get a matching thing from that, from the PTO, that would be amazing.
And does that include airfare?
Yeah.
Aside from the trips, I heard from the teachers, one concern was students having enough food and clothing, which I think is a smaller thing that we can create like a pantry or whatever.
Yeah.
Where that's a way we can. I think that's something we can handle. It's just making that a non-issue where if the kid's hungry, they can get it. Or I don't know. We can think about the way it works.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think like our social services team, there's about 4 of them. They really work with those kids who are identified to help them find resources. But I think if there were parent ways to do it, absolutely, and to make it.
And maybe we should connect with them.
Yeah, that would be great. So connect with Bailey and Dylan really do that. Yeah,
And how many PTO trips? But
Not at all. No, I think that's a really important point. And those are things that don't cost money. Like that's an easier way to. Don't cost a lot.
Or we could do it and raise money and go out and buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we really take advantage of. We don't talk about this a lot, but we take a lot of advantage of coats for kids. We make sure every kid has a coat. And we got turkeys for a lot of kids. We don't really talk about that because, But I think it would be great to have a parent liaison to sort of.
And a supply box.
Yeah.
Where an email can go out to the PTO saying, we need socks. We need to bring socks.
Regarding the trip, with you getting and the fundraising, what we ran up against right away was the distribution and how that was managed, and who qualified and those types of things. So I recommend we address that up front, right away, so it's very clear, and that I think that'll help as far as, like you've already pretty much answered, I think, one of the first points was like how much, what are you thinking in terms of like 50%, but, that would be my first thought, because we ran up against that so much.
Definitely.
And-
Working through that.
Yeah, and who's gonna decide, like, if we're going to do it on a need-based base, like the schools and
Yeah, like, in terms of,
a group of parents can't.
I liked the participation, frankly, but I think it could be open for discussion. Like, I like that idea about participation and it's sort of equally shared and brought down.
that was.
If you can get a significant amount of money, it makes a very big deal. And then,
Right.
or maybe that the parent money is shared significantly and the school money is used to like subsidize extra assistant kids or for all kids. Like we use those targets. But I think equal, like it's hard to have a bunch of parents do it and then not benefit from it. So that was always my.
Unless they know going in.
Unless
That's the deal.
So I just want to get on the trip. So what is planned is at this point or anticipated in terms of where kids are going, which grades? Just wanted to get a.
Yeah, we hope 8 and 10. And of course, it will be our 9th graders for this initial class. And what we'd like to have some reciprocal programs so that they're, like a lot of our kids from China already have a buddy, but there's some reciprocal program on the opposite years.
So it'll be the lowest grade, the 8th graders for the 8th graders like next year.
The 8th grade summer, the summer before 9th grade you would go, and then the summer before 11th grade. And then you would have reciprocal visits.
Anticipating
Hopefully
doing
9 to 1.
that to the future, like you have to be regular.
That's what I would like.
And two, 3 trips broken down by language.
Yes, yep, 3 trips.
Another thing that I think is important is that if you're talking about doing this every year, that kind of has to be factored into who you're asking for money from, and there's got to be a machine that makes it happen. You can't reinvent the wheel every year. So that's
I
crazy.
was going to mention too, I came from Stokes. And I was kind of late on it, but there is a parent, and I can reach out to her, who is very knowledgeable and had started, I don't know where she is on it, but she had a whole plan in reaching out through embassies and their affiliates to be able to get donations to the different, French track, Spanish track, and being able to have them come on board. So that could be a possible program that could be started, and it would be an ongoing program from that point on, and can expand because it might be craft or I can't think of name brand, Adidas or whoever would then kind of get on board and make donations towards the program for that reason. So that's just kind of a suggestion.
I'd like to know how this might coordinate or tie in with any annual fundraising program and giving program. I think it would be a great way to do it, but I don't know how you guys feel about that sort of an annual fundraising program.
You mean like a week where it's,
Family
Like,
giving.
doesn't Land do something along
Yeah,
those
so
lines?
that's-
It was so
Last-
successful
Yeah.
the first year, shocked.
Mhm.
Our goal was $50,000. We got like $104,000, and it was just 10 days of. We got parents involved, and we did a video, and we talked about it, and it's like, if every student could contribute. I think it was only like $240 or something. We would get our goal of $50,000. But if you can't do that, that's great, because we want you to participate. So if you can give 100, if you can give 50, but if you can give more than 200, so we just had people, and we put some programs in place where if everyone in the classroom participated, then some parents would double their contribution, stuff like that. So it was very successful, but then, would parents rather be asked just for money?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
would.
Yeah, maybe that's a better way to go about it. So an
Yeah.
annual, totally.
But also, I was talking to a friend who, they do a very similar thing at Latin. And then another fundraiser that they did that could either be a different fundraiser or maybe a kickoff. Instead of a gala, which is a lot of layout up front and a ton of work, is having a weekend where people volunteer to host an event in the house, brunch, dinner, happy hour, and then there's a suggested donation for attending. And that's just a more manageable thing, and you could partner up with someone, you know, you have your house, someone else's house. And it's a whole weekend.
talking about
Kind of inspired an idea. I mean, doing a campaign would be kind of bad, but if we wanted to do like a week or 2 week campaign, I don't know, timing wise, maybe coming back from school, maybe not right away, but having it focused on going places. So everybody's excited about the trips that they just went on over the summer and sharing that, but then we're raising money so that the kids can go next summer. So it's like feeding off of that energy. And so like people could make donations and share their vacation stories or where they went or where they want to go and just kind of create a buzz that way.
Given it's February, we've got a short time period, that week campaign might get us a nice little chunk. I mean, I know Stoke's got almost 15 grand in a week, you know. That might be easy just because we don't have enough time to do something huge.
I feel like whatever we do, whatever the big thing is that we do, if it's going to be an annual thing, it needs to be around the same time. So if we could do something in May or even June, that gives us that event, and then we could do it again next May or June for that, whatever that big thing is. If it's an annual giving thing, if it's a gala, whatever it's going to be. Create something that's an annual thing that people expect and prepare for, and then other things, small things.
To China, annual giving becomes a part of the culture of DCI at whatever amount. There is something, having participated in those programs before, that everybody's in and everybody's a part of it. But I think something to think about is also the celebration of that, and that was something wonderful experience at a previous school was that. And it wasn't a party that cost a lot of money, but it was a way for people to come together in person and celebrate that the thing happened.
Yeah.
And I think that, whatever that is.
At Lamb, we had simple things like the popsicle party, or like,
Well, we'll try, yeah.
so that was quick.
If there's like 100% participation in class, the kids got popsicles, or, you know, so it was really, the kids were involved, the kids were bringing in their, you know, thing full of change and all that kind of stuff, so.
I think at Yu the things that I thought was best are those where you get the kids out and have fun while we're raising money. So we had these like twice annual fairs with games and food and when one handicap here is we have the space. If Yu has, or but some of the schools have very constrained on space, but it's fun. They did annual dance. Dance party, movie nights, but all those were things that everybody could come and have fun.
Is there space at the other location to do a social event?
Which one? The Walter Reed?
No.
Oh, at all schools, yeah. There's actually, you could do a small social event in this embassy area. It actually really lends itself to it. I think we'll do a winter formal here with all the chandeliers and things. But at all schools, there's Pierce Hall, and which is pretty large. I think it seats 700, and they have a cafeteria that is pretty big, and they also have the sanctuary, which is 700. That's more of a seated event. Like, you know, it's a sanctuary.
One thing about doing an annual event in May is that if the trips are in the summer, it's kind of close. People won't know they have the money.
You'd have to do it for the year before.
You'd have to do it for the year before. So if it were going to be this May, it would be for
Next year.
next year.
And so we'd have two by the time they actually travel, like this spring and the next spring.
Although that could get tricky if the next class is counted.
Or something that with the actual.
And also be curious to see how an incentive plan worked, where initially you say, you know, PTO is whatever we raise is going to cover, like you said, the $500. But if a grade they fundraised and raised, say, $20,000, and everybody's trip drops to $250, you know, that you've got to be in it. You know, you've got to be committed to do that fundraising. And when you do, you bring this number down. So we'll start you here, but because you work hard and bring in additional funds, then your number drops. And you can get down to 0 depending on how you guys play the game.
One of the things I would hope to avoid in fundraising trips, something that happened in the game, was it became almost a regular occurrence of parents being asked to give money 12 times a year. It's really wore on people.
Right.
And so I would encourage you all to be aware of going to that well too often. For that reason alone, I'm going to speak again for that. It's just sort of one annual thing. One plea to the parents. Once a year, give everything you can. You won't really be bothered in terms of fundraising. Now, there may be events, like Bill was mentioning, where, yeah, some funds will be raised, but mostly those are community spirit building events, like school dances and things. But in terms of asking parents for money, I would like it to happen once a year, if possible.
What I experienced at Lowell was that the big push came in December so people could do it as part of their end of year giving. But if they wanted, it was a pledge through June. And so most people gave by December 31st, we count on that tax year. But it did continue, so it was kind of a combination of those. But it was like one big push, but then other events. So I hear you on that.
Okay, so to wrap this up a little bit, it sounds like we agree that we want to try to do a major event, something, mini major, before the end of the school year. And then,
For next year's trips.
right, right, exactly.
Okay.
And I feel like given the time that we have, that maybe just an ask for money is the best way to go.
Maybe a party.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
A little mixer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, actually, it seems like it would take the sting off to have it associated with something, just kind of giving money. Some people are fine with that, but if there's some kind of activity or something tied to paying for some event or something of that nature, you might pay a little bit more for this particular event because you know that it's a fundraiser versus just, we want you to give some money. That's just kind of my thought. I mean,
No, I get that. I feel like based on the time that we have, planning an event, because we talked about doing a gala, which would have been great if we could have started on it like in October, which we didn't get to. I don't know, maybe why don't we just do a show of hands? This is whoever ends up running this committee won't be running it the way that I'm currently running it. But who favors the idea of an ask for money before the end of the year? Just let's see.
I think we could do really well.
Okay.
Maybe
So,
a party at the end.
yeah.
Some kind of celebration.
Yeah.
Celebration. It's a model that's been proven out by other schools, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to reinvent the wheel
I
here.
have all
And
this
there's
stuff.
no layout.
Doesn't have to be a
There's-
fancy.
There's nothing that you
No,
have to spend up front.
Yeah.
But we
Okay.
might, I mean, we're gonna do that for the trips. What are we gonna do for just the fees, the money for running?
Are there going to be?
So-
Well, Bill's idea, events perhaps,
So,
dance.
yeah.
Charge a small entrance
I was
fee.
thinking, she's been trying to jump into this. Let me get you in for some and we'll talk about it.
So my son comes from the meeting, so I was in one of those fundraising frenzies. But I think it's a great idea to ask for funds. But there are a lot of parents who just don't have the resources to do that, but they still want to contribute. And so if there was an opportunity for parents to be able to say, hey, I can contribute $10 a month or whatever it is, that would be great. But then also having big events is wonderful, but having a lot of small events, I think would bring a lot more parents who would not normally participate into the circle. So I like the idea when they said they had like socials where someone hosted maybe a spaghetti dinner at their house, or someone, a parent please pozole, so they had a pozole dinner, and you had parents to come and they donated a fee $10
for more parents and to create a wider community. I like the idea of the events that we had at UD, but again, we were dealing with elementary school children. So now we're with middle school and high schoolers, and that's not really going to work as well. Most of them don't want the parents around for a lot of the events where they're socializing with their friends. So if there was a movie night where the kids would come, they played video, we had popcorn and some other things, and the kids could watch the movie together and just goof off, that would be great. That's an activity for them. If they pay $5 or $10 for it, it's a small activity. It really doesn't cost that much. We have a couple of parents who volunteer to supervise outside of the room. But I mean, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of smaller things, you're not gonna generate a large amount of funds. But if we have a lot of smaller things, I don't mind giving my son $10 or $15 or $20 for the event for school, as opposed to having to come up with $200, $300, $400, $500 for a lump sum. It just kind of you might draw in more of the families who just don't have the financial means to contribute a large amount of money.
I also think, I also think the kids could contribute.
Yes.
And I think
They should have a buy-in.
I know, like, when I was in high school, there was a river trip that we did every year. And we had this huge garage sale that was run by the kids. And, you know, that's not going to bring in as much money as a giving campaign, but I do think that it's important to involve them. And it would take, you know, some volunteer adult supervision.
I've never seen penny campaigns in classes bring in $300 or $400. That's a big chunk. It's a lot of ATMs in here. You know, so altogether, that would be a nice piece of change and it's for the kids.
What about the payment plan? Are they able to do that? You pledge maybe $500 and pay $20 a month. Is that something you can do?
I'm sure we can figure it out. I mean, the only thing that I really think I would like, it's something for us to an event is a good opportunity for you to ask your vendors for money. And that is the one thing, like, we now have a big builder who gives a lot of money. They're giving tons of money to kids. We can't like just say, hey, give us money, but if we have an event, they'll throw money. Like, they'll just write you a check for $10,000 or building.
But what about our giving campaign? They wouldn't do that.
No, because that's just more of a family thing.
They would
Yeah,
sponsor
they don't
something, they wouldn't just give you
know.
free money.
So it doesn't need to be like I've been looking what all the other schools are doing right now, and maybe it doesn't need to be a silent auction, which we know is insane.
Would it be
Mary? Somebody mentioned, you know, at the end of this annual campaign, often having a sort of celebratory gathering. Would that sort of gathering be sufficient for the vendor?
Yeah, maybe. And so that's what I was just thinking, is something that is, you know, a big party. Yeah.
My company throws dance parties. So I mean, in terms of just facilitating a dance party, I should offer that. If, you know, we put together in terms of food and stuff, but just facilitating like the music and the sound equipment and all that, that's what they do. So in terms of throwing a dance party, we can do that. And it's not a lot of money or it's just, I don't think
Well, so I'm thinking about your comments about having the kids contribute, and then about something that doesn't take a lot of fuss, but something that's kind of so celebratory that we can use our vendors to sponsor. What if, and they're doing all these cool clubs you saw in the video. What if there was, like, I'm thinking of the Taste of DC model, where, but it's not just food necessarily. I know there are food clubs, but what if there was, you know, the kids set up food, you had to pay an entrance fee. You could do it here, and the kids set up booths where you could sample the dumplings the Chinese club made. Over here you can view the video that the so-and-so club made. Here you can see a presentation by Equality Matters.
Taste of DCI.
Yeah.
Taste of just a
And
thought.
have French, Spanish, and Chinese food.
That's great.
Even
Taste of
if
DCI.
they have a talent show or showcase, I mean, there's so many talented kids here.
But I would love to see the output that they're already doing. You know, you saw they're producing so much, even the art. So I wonder if there's a way you could set it up that it was like a table saying you
So
could
it's
have.
not just the shift, but it's just part of they're already doing the effort.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way to keep it easy. Now, I think that, having adult components are important, so maybe that, I don't know if that makes sense as well, but it's a thought.
It's a great idea. All right, so let's, so right in front of us right now, once we get somebody to chair this committee, would be a major event, either an annual giving thing or a Taste of DCI thing that would happen before the end of the year. And then in terms of short term for money just for the PTO, because we have $100, I had been thinking too about doing some sort of, dinners like maybe in each ward, have a family do something, but I wasn't thinking about charging for it. But I think that who said that?
Like a progressive.
That's a great idea.
I did, it's not my idea.
To do something like that and get donations, and that at least gives us money, but it's a fun thing. It goes to the goal that we have of building feeding it between families, so it's consistent with what we're trying to do. It'll be fun. So do you like the idea of maybe doing that just so we can get some money for the PTO, but then pursuing?
Do you have a sort of dollar figure amount that you are targeting for?
No, I think in the bylaws, we're gonna put that you need to have $500 at least in the bank at the end of your year to turn it over to the next group of leaders. So it's not an extensive amount of money, plus we need money. We need money for little things. We need to keep asking Penny and Susie to go to Costco.
Is the money that people donate, is it tax deductible?
Yes, because they're donating it, this is a part of,
Yeah, that's my other
Oh,
question.
yeah, that's a
So is the
very good question.
PTO part of, so we have a bank account,
We have a bank account,
but it's
It's
part of
right.
your bank.
so we're not a CTA, we're not an actual.
So you really donated to the school.
Yes.
but it's a PTO.
It's smart.
event.
So it'll
But
go
they
into
have that, we
our-
have an actual account that Theodore can deposit money into.
And all the tax stuff is all sorted out.
You have your paperwork basis.
We're not
Oh,
incorporated, so we're,
Yeah,
we're
so
under
that's
the
good.
school, so there's no.
There's none of that, and all your insurance and all that.
We would be covered.
Yeah, so we run up against like insurance issues.
Insurance issues,
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
we got it all, so if it's all in school.
Okay, so do I have a couple of volunteers who would like to, well, first of all, do we want to just do the straight ask for money this year, or do we want to try, and we could still do your event at some point. I love that idea. But I don't know.
I think we should do both. Why can't we do both?
The end of the giving campaign.
Yeah.
Why can't we ask for people to donate money and have an event that people can
Would you like to
participate in?
chair the committee and do?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Because that's a lot. No, I'm just saying. That's a lot.
I don't know it all, so I'm relying on everybody else to tell me.
That's a lot. All right. So.
We're happy to support. I mean, being able to have an event doesn't depend on getting some help for sure.
Yeah.
So.
But the nice thing with the showcase, it could be huge or it could be small, but I think either way, I think people will enjoy it. I think it's a focal point for people to come out to.
Right.
Celebrate the end of the campaign and.
It reflects the cultural.
Yeah, like the Sun Tzu stuff that Gail Asher was talking about. If you walk through, it's hilarious. It's like Yoda, Darth Vader, and Chinese, and Sun Tzu. Like that stuff just when kids talking about it. It's awesome.
What's also good about that is that pulls the teachers in, because there will have to be coordination and letting them know, hey, can your class do something?
The kids could even apply, you could make it somewhat
Sign up.
competitive or nominate, like they have to actually apply to have the booth, so to speak.
Mm.
I don't know
I
about
think
that,
you
but
just sort of put yourself
Or
in a
not.
position to
what? To
to sort of
for-
lead that particular event. Do you think?
I'll help you.
To chair the event, is that what you're saying?
Deanna and Penny are interested in working on the showcase.
Work on the
Correct.
showcase. I'm not sure about being in charge.
Well, we've got our leader right
I'm
here.
gonna- What?
We've got our leader right here.
That's
You
right.
guys are gonna have to help me.
Pull in our friends for a party.
And a whole lot of visitors.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
All right, so,
We're taking no names.
who said, Deanna Penny, somebody else say something on the
I'm happy to help lead the neighborhood, is that what we're calling them, the neighborhood gathering?
Yeah, well.
I mean, I think it would be nice to maybe on a going forward basis to have them at the beginning of the school year
Mhm.
after everyone's back. But maybe our spin will just be, this is our launch to launch
Right.
seed money for the PTO sort of fund so that there's money at the beginning of the year of the next school year to be able to fund these things. So we don't necessarily need to keep it at the end of the year going
Or
forward.
do it more than once a
Or do
year.
it more than once.
I mean, I think that's a fun thing that, it doesn't have to just be once a year.
So how do people feel about doing it in neighborhood restaurants and bars versus people's homes, or
I think you could do a mix.
or people's homes, or do people have a preference?
I think actually you just get the people and you say, do you want to host one of these? And then you let them do it.
Okay,
Oh, that's true, yeah, and they could do it in
they can do it whatever they want.
They could do
Sure,
whatever they
right,
want.
sure.
It could be one person or one family. It could be
Couple families
a couple families. It could
per sort of geographic region is what you're thinking.
Have
Or
people
in-
seen
or
one or the
more
other work
necessarily.
well?
Whoever would, I think
Buddies.
for next, for just the one that's coming up, you want whoever wants to do it wherever they want.
Right.
anywhere.
I would make it few requirements.
Tell me
Okay.
your name.
Sarah Mooney, Mooney.
Was your preference for one or the other?
On the back.
No,
We
I just didn't know if people had a strong feeling about homey versus.
Mary, can I just ask, the trips next year, will it just be the 8th graders, do you think?
No, it'll be a double, trip, so that those are also our two smallest classes, so they kind of make one class to get like the size, make one class, so it kind of goes, they go well together, and they know each other so well.
Hey, everyone, I'm gonna pass these sign-in sheets around, and if you're here, star your name.
Do we have email addresses?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so we know who was here. One last thing, I need a volunteer to head up the annual giving campaign. What's your name?
I'll partner with this lady. My name is Maria Nelson.
And
Ellen Chu.
And anyone else, because that's gonna be a bit of. I think we're gonna need somebody in the school to help with understanding how the classroom is.
Yeah, and
How to get in touch with teacher, coordinating with the school.
Coordinating with the school.
we have this communications associate who works directly with me, so at all of these events, and I'm looking to hire a development person, or we have ads out for interviewing, I don't know if it's a really hard person to find. So if anyone knows any of them.
That does what?
Development.
Relevant.
But we absolutely need to sit down and talk about anything and get Lauren to do any extra like data that she's set.
okay, so this is exciting. So annual giving, neighborhood dinners, and a showcase that would happen at the end to celebrate, sort of cap off and celebrate the annual giving. So we need to work on these.
But we're thinking May.
I'm thinking, or early June.
May or
The problem with events at that time is
There's
there's so
all
much weddings, everything's going on. So I mean, it would have to be everything.
Would it be a
An
Friday
evening.
night?
Could be a Friday night, maybe. I don't know.
They get out at 1.
Well, that's probably
I
better.
know.
So that's
Maybe
actually
it'll
better,
probably
because
work
then
on
the
this.
people who are doing the
Showcase could get
showcase
ready.
could get ready, everyone's out.
So let's let you guys figure out dates for this campaign, and then depending on what seems like would work, then what that will arrange to showcase.
Can we make our first stop talking to you
Sure.
about your campaign?
Absolutely, I thought all that stuff.
The Taste of DCI is like a food component, right? Separate from part of the showcase, is that what we're keeping?
Together?
So, we should look at getting contributions from restaurants and stuff. So I think we're gonna need a food person, a foodie. I have somebody who I'm sure we can talk to, but I don't want to volunteer them without. Yeah.
So let me know.
Okay.
And I have to say that's one of
But I
the
think
reasons
that's
why
like the funnest part, right?
I'm a foodie, so.
Yeah.
But more foodies are good.
Yeah.
We have some great actual local, like Haida
Yeah.
will give us tons of food pretty much anytime. We just walk in the door and say, I'm having this event. And
Who will?
hot, yeah,
Heidi?
yeah, she lives actually in Mount Pleasant, so she's really great. And Alexander Jung's mom has her Chinese restaurant on Mount Pleasant Street, and their family, and she does a lot of food here at DCI, and she never charges me enough, so much that I like get nervous about asking her, so it's Chinatown, it's a Chinese carryout, and it's right on Mount Pleasant Street. It's really good, it's really, really good. We did it today. Any of your kids who came to the ambassador talk,
Sorry, so say your name again?
it's Amber Jung is the mom, and yeah.
All right, so make sure you've starred your name on the list if you're here. And if a couple could help put this room back, I can tell you where everything goes. That'd be great. Thank you, guys. I'll send out next.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, nobody on the phone. Yes. So that stays where it is. It comes out a little bit. Cheers around it.
It's just 6:30.
Right where you said. She had a whole house, but by the time we started,